For days before my sister's wedding, I discovered $13,000 missing from my account. When I confronted her, she snapped, "It's family money. Don't be so dramatic." Her fiancé smirked, "We deserve nice things." I stayed silent. That night, I canceled everything. Hey legends. Collision, I'm so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. A milestone I've been dreaming of for so long. One click from you could make that dream come true. Red heart, so if you're seeing this, maybe you're the one who helps me reach it. Hit that subscribe button and be part of my story. Raising hands, and when they realized the venue was gone, then 4 days before my sister's wedding, I woke up to 3 missed calls from my bank. Thought it was fraud. I assumed someone was testing a stolen card or maybe trying to open a new line in my name. It happens. But then I logged in and saw the number. $13,642. Gone. Not pending, not frozen, not flagged, just gone. I sat there in bed, still half asleep, staring at the screen like maybe I was looking at someone else's account. It took me 5 minutes to process it. Then I checked the transaction history and saw the transfer. The account it went to was familiar. Too familiar. I didn't want to believe it, but the name was right there. Tessa Lyons, my sister. The only reason she even had access is because of our parents. Back when the trust was set up by our grandparents, my parents insisted that both daughters should have access just in case. I didn't care back then. I was 19. I wasn't thinking about future betrayal. But I remembered one detail now. I never removed her access. She had never used it before. He'll know. I called her. She didn't answer. I texted, "You need to call me." "No, you took money from my account." 10 minutes later, she called back. He sounded annoyed. She said I was being over the top, that it was family money anyway, and I should be happy for her. Then in the background, I heard her fiancé, Austin, laughing. He said something like, "We deserve nice things," like they were proud of what they did. That was the last thing I heard before I hung up. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I didn't beg for it back. I just stared at the wall for a while, then started writing a list. They didn't know this, but I was the one who paid for almost everything related to that wedding. I'd been quiet about it, partly because I didn't want the attention, partly because it made me feel in control. I paid the deposit for the venue, $8,000. I paid the catering, $5,200. I paid for the flowers, the photographer, the music, even the welcome bags for guests. Everything was under my name. The irony, the whole time, my sister acted like it was all coming from our parents. She never corrected anyone. He just played the role. Future bride, baby of the family, beloved daughter. Meanwhile, I worked 60-hour weeks juggling my job in grad school to keep things afloat for everyone. And they took my money. That night, I started canceling everything. The venue was easy. The contract was in my name, and the balance wasn't due until the day before. Same with the caterers. The florist was surprised, but professional. I told her I'd be in touch, maybe for a future event. The hotel rooms were released. The photographer was actually relieved. He said he had another couple waiting for the same date. By midnight, the wedding had no location, no food, no guests, and no backup plan, but no one knew yet. Tessa was still posting countdowns on Instagram with glittery boomerangs of her wedding shoes. Our mom reposted every single one. No one had the faintest clue. I spent the next 2 days acting normal. Tessa didn't call again. She probably thought I had accepted it, that I was done acting dramatic. But then came the rehearsal. The plan was to meet at the venue that Thursday morning, run through the ceremony, then head to a family brunch downtown. Everyone was invited. Our extended relatives, Austin's frat boy groomsmen, our childhood neighbors. The whole spectacle. They all arrived around 10 o'clock. I already knew how it would go because I'd called the venue 2 days before and asked them to change the door code. The signs were removed. The staff was off-site. The parking lot gate was locked. Just a silent, empty building. I heard later that my sister showed up in a white romper with a mimosa in hand expecting applause. She stood outside in heels while our mom kept trying to call someone. Austin apparently went from smirking to silent. He doesn't like looking poor. When they finally realized it wasn't some misunderstanding, the panic started. That's when they started calling me. All of them missed calls from Tessa, our mom, even Austin. My dad texted me once. "What is going on?" I didn't answer because this was just the beginning. The calls didn't stop for 2 days. My phone lit up every hour. Tessa, Mom, Dad, even Austin once. I didn't answer a single one. I wasn't in the mood to be gaslit into thinking I overreacted, or worse, guilt tripped into paying for it all again. They thought silence meant hesitation. I didn't. On the third day, Mom showed up at my condo. No warning. She used the emergency key. I forgot to move. I walked into the kitchen and found her sitting at the table like she belonged there. She started talking before I could say a word. She said Tessa was devastated. The wedding was off track. The guests were confused. She kept using words like misunderstanding and overreaction. I waited for her to ask me what happened. He never did. Instead, she asked when I was going to fix it. Not if. That was when I asked her one thing. Just one. Did you know she was going to take that money? She paused. Not long. Just enough. Then she said they thought I'd be okay with it because Tessa didn't have enough and the wedding was important. She's your sister, right? I didn't say anything. I just stood there until she left quietly. No yelling, no dramatic exit. But she must have known from my face that it was different this time. That night, Dad called. He started off more neutral, but ended up saying the same thing. They just assumed I'd be understanding that it's just money and that Tessa was under a lot of stress and didn't mean any harm. She didn't mean to steal. She just did. He added, almost like it was a passing joke, that Austin had offered to write me a check when they get back on their feet. I didn't respond. The next morning, I finally sent one message to our entire immediate family. Mom, Dad, Tessa, Austin. One text, no emojis, no explanation. Let's meet at Grandma and Grandpa's tomorrow. Noon. Our grandparents had been quiet through all of this. They're the ones who funded the original trust account when we were teenagers. Their old-school Depression-era upbringing. Cash in envelopes. Values like earn what you keep. My family loved me, but they didn't hand out free passes. I knew holding the meeting at my grandparents' place meant something. It was neutral ground, and it'd be tough for Tessa to twist the narrative. When I got there, everyone was already waiting. Mom was pacing. Dad sat on the couch, arms crossed. Austin wore sunglasses indoors like a fool. Tessa looked like she'd been crying, but no one was consoling her. She just sat in silence. Then Grandpa asked me to speak. I didn't yell or play the victim. I laid it out plain. Tessa had taken over $13,000 from a trust that wasn't hers. My parents knew and didn't stop her. I paid for every detail of the wedding, yet they let everyone think it was their money. They lied, manipulated, and expected me to stay quiet. I announced the wedding was canceled for good, and I was removing Tessa's name from the trust immediately. Her breathing was audible. She didn't look up. Austin took off his sunglasses, looking like he wanted to argue, but even he stayed silent. Then Grandma did something unexpected. She left the room, returned with a white envelope, and handed it to Tessa. We plan to give this to you on your wedding day, she said. Tessa opened it slowly, checked it twice, like something might appear. Grandma's voice was firm. If you want something in life, you earn it. Not by stealing, not by lying, and not by using other people's money. No one spoke. Eventually, Austin stood and left without waiting for Tessa. He knew it was over. Mom tried to salvage things, suggesting we could reschedule, maybe do something smaller. Dad muttered about the neighbors' gossip. I didn't respond. I thanked my grandparents and walked out. It was done, but the fallout was just starting. The first 24 hours after the meeting were eerily quiet. I think they expected me to back down. Tessa didn't call or text. Austin vanished from social media, which, for a guy posting gym selfies 3 times a day, was a red flag. Then the unraveling began. The venue posted on Instagram, thanking Sharon Lyons for releasing her October 12th date to another couple. Tessa must have seen it fast because, by noon, her profile was wiped. No wedding countdowns, no dress fittings, no hashtag. Just her name, an old photo with Austin on a boat, and a bio saying, "Taking time for myself." Right. Then came texts from extended family. A cousin from San Diego asked if Tessa really took the money. An aunt in Ohio wanted to know if she could cancel her flight. A family friend messaged, saying she admired how I held it together. I stayed silent publicly. I didn't need to speak. The truth was spreading on its own. The vendors Tessa and Austin tried to rebook, all refused. The venue was booked. The florist cited ethical concerns. The caterer claimed a full calendar. But I knew the real reason. No one wanted to touch their drama again. Then Tessa and Austin's world started collapsing. Their joint bank account was closed. Austin had tried using it for a rental property deposit he'd bragged about. But without my money propping it up, they were short. Way short. I heard from a mutual friend he was begging for loans from someone he'd already stiffed on a car repair. Word travels fast. My parents started calling again. Dad tried the guilt angle, saying family doesn't stay mad forever, that we should sit down and heal. I asked why. I told him this wasn't a grudge, it was a boundary. Mom sent a long email, claiming they only wanted both daughters to feel supported, that they'd do things differently if they could. But it was still about their embarrassment, not my betrayal. I didn't reply. Instead, I had the trust lawyer send formal letters. Tessa was officially cut from the account, and safeguards were added. No one touches a cent without my approval. 3 days later, my grandparents invited me for tea. They didn't say much, just asked how I was. I said I was tired but clear-headed. Before I left, Grandpa handed me a check for the full amount Tessa took, plus a bit extra. I refused at first, but he said, "You didn't let her steal your future. That's worth more than money." He smiled and added, "Take it in case she tries again." I deposited it the next day, not because I needed it, but because I earned it. A week later, things seemed to settle, or so it appeared. Tessa went quiet online. Mom and Dad avoided me. I was savoring the rare peace after the storm, heavy but freeing. Then, Thursday afternoon, HR emailed me. An anonymous complaint accused me of unethical financial conduct, attaching spliced screenshots of my trust account, partial statements, and my work email signature. It was obviously Tessa. I work in finance, and my reputation is everything I built myself. She was trying to take that too. The evidence was flimsy, cobbled together trust statements, and an old joint family account long closed. But it looked suspicious enough to raise questions. It took 2 days and 3 calls with compliance to clear it. They saw it was personal sabotage, not fraud. Still, the embarrassment stung. My boss even asked if I was okay. That's when my anger turned colder. Tessa wasn't ashamed, she was retaliating. That weekend, my grandparents hosted their usual Sunday lunch, the first time we'd all be together since the canceled wedding. I almost skipped it, but Grandma called and calmly insisted I come. When I arrived, Tessa was there, looking polished, curled hair, white sweater, fake smile, like nothing happened. Austin was absent. Grandpa was too quiet, a sign he knew something. After lunch, as everyone faked civility, Grandma brought out a small box from her study, the one she keeps family papers in. She opened it and pulled out printed emails from Tessa. The week before the wedding, Tessa had asked Grandma for a $15,000 loan for unexpected costs, claiming I'd backed out of paying. Grandma had refused, writing that honesty comes before money and that Tessa should wait until she could afford her dream wedding. Grandma read the email aloud. Tessa's face drained of color. Grandpa added, "You asked us for money before you took hers." He showed a transfer record I'd given them, dated the day after Tessa's email. The silence was deafening. Even Mom didn't defend her. Then came another blow. Austin had contacted Dad, not to apologize, but to reclaim a honeymoon deposit. Except Dad checked and found it was charged to my credit card, not theirs, via an old shared booking site from a family trip years ago. It hit everyone. Tessa and Austin had been siphoning from me long before the $13,000. Grandpa handed me another envelope, containing documents from the family lawyer. My trust portion was now in a new account under my name only, with Tessa's access permanently revoked and future inheritance tied to financial integrity clauses. If she stole again, she'd lose everything. Grandma didn't look at Tessa, just said, "Sometimes love needs distance to heal." Tessa stood and left without a word. Mom tried to follow, but Grandpa stopped her, saying, "Let her go." That night, Tessa sent me one last message. "You think you've won, but you'll see who people believe." I didn't respond. By morning, Austin's cousin posted screenshots on Facebook of texts between Austin and Tessa, arguing over who ruined everything. It spread like wildfire. Everyone saw who they really were. Grandma, who didn't even use Facebook, heard about the drama through her church group, and that's when my family stopped pretending everything was fine. 2 weeks after Tessa's leaked Facebook screenshots, the family group chat went silent with a quiet panic. Mom stopped posting quotes, Dad stopped acting clueless, and Tessa moved back home without a word. No wedding, no fiancé, no apology. Mom started reaching out, inviting me for dinner, coffee, leaving voicemails about missing how things were, but never mentioned Tessa's actions. Then, a letter arrived from a law office, demanding I repay half the wedding costs I'd covered, claiming I'd reneged on a gift due to a personal disagreement. I almost laughed at the audacity, but instead, I hired a new lawyer, gathered receipts, and sent Tessa one email. Another legal notice, and you'll hear from a judge. She didn't reply. Dad showed up at my office, handed me an envelope with a note and the house deed. Tessa's name was off it. The note admitted they'd enabled her for years and said, "You deserved better." I didn't call him back. I was just tired. At my grandparents' that Sunday, they gave me updated trust documents. My share was mine alone, Tessa's access cut off. They also revealed a savings account in my name, started 3 years ago for my protection. Grandma handed me an old photo of me and Tessa at a piano recital, saying, "We saw more than we said, but now we're saying it." I blocked Tessa after seeing her starting fresh post. A month later, no wedding, no fiancé. Mom claimed she was supporting Tessa. Dad stayed quiet. Then, Austin's mom contacted me, revealing his lies. He told her I was obsessed and sabotaged the wedding. She found texts proving he'd pursued me while dating Tessa and uncovered his debts and fake job stories. She thanked me for not falling for him. At a quiet family dinner, Grandpa gave me the final trust document. Mine, permanently, no loopholes. Grandma asked if I was okay. I was. I got my money, my voice, and my boundaries back. Tessa? She's working part-time, posting vague quotes, no wedding in sight, and even my parents stopped defending her.